Welcome. We're looking at the birth of Isaac and Esau and their characters and how God interacted with them and through them. I'm going to start by thinking about Rebekah, and I love this quote from Dorothy Sayers. I've enjoyed reading her detective novels. Lord Peter Wimsey is her character. She was a contemporary of C.S. Lewis, a fine intellect, a fine committed Christian person, and a lovely writer. And I love this quote from her. Time and trouble will tame an advanced young woman, but an advanced old woman is uncontrollable by any earthly force. And we all know some beautiful, uncontrollable older women, full of God's life and God's energy. So we're looking at Rebekah. And a few weeks ago, we looked at Genesis chapter 24, the longest chapter in Genesis. And we said, is this simply a romance? No, it's much more than that. This is about the big promises to Abraham and Sarah being fulfilled, the promises of land, the promises of their own child, and the promises that they would become a great nation and that through them the whole earth would be blessed. So now Sarah's died, Abraham's getting old, they find a suitable wife, and the senior servant, finds Rebekah. And it's good. She's secure in herself, she's confident. We said that she assesses the situations well, she's kind, she was physically strong and a great worker. Remember, she offered to water 10 camels, that's 800 litres of water at least. She's beautiful, she's eligible for a good marriage, and in the proposal from the servant, she recognised, this is God at work. And she said yes. So time and trouble will tame an advanced young woman. And that's what Rebekah did experience, time and trouble. So those promises, land and children and a blessing for the whole world, the problem for her and for Isaac was that for 20 years there's no pregnancy or no successful pregnancy. We don't know if she had any miscarriages. For 20 years. And you can imagine, particularly in the early days, everyone's looking at her to check, are you pregnant yet? Are you pregnant yet? And then after a while, and then you could hear the talk behind her back. Well, who's going to inherit all of Isaac's herds and riches? So it's difficult. We're told that Isaac prays. We don't know what he was doing before that, but we're told that Isaac prays and God hears. And Rebekah gets pregnant, except it's a very difficult, distressing pregnancy for her. So distressing that she prays to God, and this is what she hears. She's carrying twins. There are two nations inside her. They're going to divide. That means they'll be fighting against each other. One's going to be stronger. The elder will serve the younger. Whoa! I don't know if that helped Rebekah. It certainly gave her an explanation for why she was having such a difficult pregnancy. And, what does it say to you when you're going to be a parent of two people like this? Does that help? Don't know how Isaac and Rebekah dealt with that. Children are born. What are they like? Isaac comes out first. He's bigger, he's stronger, and he's totally covered in red hair, so he gets the name Esau. Jacob comes out second, but he's grabbing onto his brother's heel, and that's what they name him, heel grabber. Esau is hunter, loves being outside. Jacob's a homebody. There's this strange word in the Hebrew which could be translated wholesome. Some translations have it quiet. In the book of Job, it's actually about Job being a person of integrity. But we can't describe Jacob as a person of great integrity. But there is a longing, a genuine longing for God. Esau is Isaac's favourite. Jacob is Rebekah's favourite. You can see there's going to be complications and problems in this family. When Esau and Jacob are mature, there's a story about the birthright and the pot of red lentils. So Esau, as the older, is going to get 2/3 of the inheritance. Jacob is going to get 1/3. Esau's character, he's impetuous. He goes for instant gratification. He's totally out there. What you see is exactly what you get. And you know exactly what he's thinking because he'll tell you. Jacob is a schemer, a planner. He has his eye on the long term. And Esau doesn't value his birthright, whereas Jacob longs to have all the blessings from God. And so the story is Esau comes in hot and bothered from the hunt, and he's desperately hungry. He says, I'm going to die unless you give me some of that food. Jacob says, sure, I'll give it to you. Just you sell me your birthright. Okay, what's it worth? Nothing to me if I'm going to die. And so he doesn't value the birthright. I think a couple of things we can learn from looking at Esau and Jacob's responses. Esau goes for the quick fix, the immediate gratification. And we've all done that at times. We forget whose we are. We forget that we belong to the God of life and love. And so there are plenty of times when we're tempted or actually have sold ourselves short, gone with the crowd, felt pressure to do things we didn't agree with. And we'll learn, but there's going to be painful learnings along the way. The other way we see is Jacob being a grabber. And we know that too. Grabbing the goodies, but somehow not wanting the God who's behind them. And that's what we see the young Jacob doing. I'm sure we've all done that too. I was reminded of saying, those who have Christ and everything else have no more than those who have Christ only. Finally, whatever we have, if we don't have Christ at the heart, no matter how much we've got, it becomes worthless. When we've got Christ, everything else finds its rightful place. Finish up with a quote from Dorothy Sayers. God wastes nothing, not even sin. The soul that has struggled and come through is enriched by its experiences, and grace does not merely blot out the evil past, but in the most literal sense makes it good. The promises of God, the blessing of God to both Jacob and Esau still continue in spite of their characters, in spite of their failings, in spite of their shortcomings. And we'll hear more about them in the coming weeks. May the God of peace strengthen you and keep you safe and well. Amen.